possible to be so happy to see a skid steer? I wasn't expecting to see any work done this week because of the wet ground, but I guess when your work vehicle has treads, you don't worry about wet ground. The form guys got here early Monday and got right to work breaking ground. The previous owner already had dug down below the frost line, so all they had to do was level the site for the footers. Here's one of the guys telling the driver that he needs to go down 4 more inches. Wait, hold on. How does he know that? Well, it all starts with setting up the site level. It's a self-adjusting level, so once they turn it on, it establishes its own level. The next step is to go around the site to each corner and determine where the low spot is by measuring the distance between the ground level and the sensor that's on the stick that they're carrying. For me, the low spot was the back right side of the house. Remember, they're only pouring footers for walls, so the front and back porch don't count. Once they know the low spot on the site, they transfer that measurement to the stick that the laser sensor is mounted on. With the laser spinning and projecting a beam 360 degrees around it in a flat line, the sensor will beep when the two are at the same level. Here you'll see one of the guys taking the measurement tilting the sensor to one side. That's because the flat beam coming from the laser is below the sensor because the ground is still too high. By tilting the sensor until it finds the laser beam, he can tell the skid steer operator how much more dirt to remove. The driver always has one eye on him. There's always a supervisor on every job site. As they get closer to the depth they're looking for, they start removing less and less material. Until they get to the point where the signal is given to the operator that this spot is good. It didn't take them long. Here's a view from behind the house looking towards the driveway. This is from the driveway looking towards the house. The ramps on either side that they built are for the concrete truck. The next day started with tape measures, plans, and math to determine where the footings are going to go. Then the wooden forms were placed to pour the concrete in between. After the forms are set, additional metal stakes have to be driven on the outside to keep them from buckling under the weight of the concrete. The metal stakes also have holes in the top portion so they can be nailed to the forms on the outside for additional support. With the concrete on its way, a few more guys showed up to finish setting the forms. It may not look like it, but that's the mudroom. When the forms are in, they have to go back and set a line level on the inside to pour the concrete. That's to keep the concrete at the same height all the way around. To do this, they use the level and drive nails at the constant height. All we need now is a concrete truck. As soon as the truck pulled in the site, it got stuck. Yep, concrete is heavy. They decided to shuttle the concrete to the site with a skid steer. By doing this, it would lighten the truck to the point where they'd be able to move it closer to the actual job site. The concrete also needs steel rebar placed in it to strengthen it. The rebar in the corners has to be bent. Can you tell he's done that a few times? Once they have it placed where they want it, they'll push it down into the concrete. This greatly strengthens the concrete as the building pushes down on it. The rebar has to be cut to fit. There's some more of that professional shovel leaning going on there. Well, the concrete truck may be lighter, but it was still stuck. That means a skid steer and a chain are needed. Once they got it out of the hole that it was in, the skid steer gave it a push or two. This allowed it to move around the site and get in a position so it could pour the center footings. This footing will not have a wall on it, but it will support the center beam of the house. Yep, supervisor's still on the job. With the truck lighter, they could finally pull it up on the ramp that they had built for it. This is where they wanted it to begin with. This is the part that they realize they're going to have to call for a little more concrete. Back to the skid steer and the chain to get the cement truck out. No one batted an eye, though. Apparently this is common. Once he got back up on the rock, he was fine. Yep, that's how much short we are. Just a little bit. The supervisor decided to get a little closer to the job site and the workers. Probably keep a closer eye on us. When the next truck got here, they didn't even bother trying to get it close to the site. They just opted to shuttle the concrete instead. Then it was time to cut some more steel rebar. These pieces are going to be installed vertically. They'll tie the footer to the wall once it's poured. You can see him installing it in the back. And with that, we have a footer. Then, of course, it rained. I didn't know the plans included an indoor pool. I was only kidding about the ark. Well, we're going to need several days of sun to get back to work. Let's see if we get them. Don't forget to subscribe to stick with me on this journey. Oh yeah, use the thumbs up and down to let me know what you think about these videos.